interviews and talk about it. A lot of Irish taxpayers would like to know what happened.
The taxpayer is to be saddled with the debts and obligations of a totally private company.
The bhí sig na Madri sráid na London go raibh cuasaí in ICI in London luffa.
Tús an Scannal AIB, ag Connacht Insurance Corporation of Ireland.
This was an appalling reflection on the management of AIB. It was just the first of a series of scandals.
Scannal a tháinig in níor a dóig an rialtas.
If you're told that the bank will collapse, other banks will collapse, the country will go bust, well, not panic, but you have to do what seems necessary at the time.
Seo scéala, faoi mar cheannig rialtas na héireann, cólacht áirichas le fíocha olmhóra ó cheann na buince smó sa tír. An seanna scéal céanna, beidir, ach a bhain gur tharla an achtraise in 1985. Hiag AIB go lua go raibh an gná nuaise ag cailúnt na milliún. Thugad ar an aiber le choris an rialtas agus an tíirse, sáid le fíocha agus lítanis nach dúchach in nearra go Joe.
ICI I knew about as a state company, as had been previously, and I wasn't even aware, I suppose, that AIB had purchased it.
Well, AIB had a shareholding in ICI, which was an Irish insurance company that had a lot of business in Britain. ICI, on paper, looked like a very successful company. It was making a lot of money, so it seemed like an obvious thing for them to do, to expand into insurance.
Caithfidh gur bumaite amadán tíochta bhí ag AIB gan in nuacha ceart dhéanamh an marga seo dónú 12 milliún punt ag an le billiún punt the chostas a bheitán sa látáinneán.
I think they didn't realise that running an insurance corporation is a very different thing from running a bank. And I think to some extent it landed itself in the manure business and in a business which it didn't understand.
There were rumours around the time that AIB became involved in it that it was growing so fast it had to be taking on business that perhaps other people weren't insuring.
Fuaisiad amach go toban go raibh na milliún de chailte na san agus nach meach ábaltocht acu na milliún sin a díal agus fannacht an nó an bonnach nó bhí acu sin an bancéireacht agus bhí seo chu siimplí le sin de bhádró dhearnach fuaisiad amach go raibh siad tréis 4 droch mharga dhéanamh agus go méidir go mbeadh seansan leis na cailteanna sa bhí leis tíd ICI go gcuireadh siad omláin grúpa AIB as go nó.
Bhí an cuma ar an scéal gur gnó brabúsach a bhíonn san ICI an dús ach mar a tharla níor bheith. Tháinig sé chun solas nach seod in éistíocht a bhí ionte ach seod gan bheith. Bhí cinní gnó fhí seoran ifig a Lúndan an dhéanamh le blianta fada, cinní gan deoramh, gan céil. Bhí na milliún ag amacht le srá, céimh leis an scéal.
Bé John Bruton a leabharlam faoi ar an giltar síos mar gur sé tacha chun chuimhne sin nó tacha chun airige sin gur raibh deacracht leis an ggóireacht áirichas a bhí ceangailte leis an monk.
I was at home in bed with flu and a temperature when I was told that Alan Dukes and John Bruton wanted to see me. So I said, come on in, and they told me what had happened.
Thugad ar ólach mar gnóidir láimh ach bhí a bhór Harbh antrach. Áirichas de héit an fergna bhí greathan na talún, áirichas sláinte a gona míchleachtas agus drogaí réimhrethe agus asbestóis. Áirichas tanóisce I barc na siamsaíochta a bhór I America, alach folíochta rigí alle agus satellítí. Chur ICI Lúndan áirichas ar chéirchlaí a cuireach ar cealfiú. Bacholacht éireannach a bhí an ICI ach bhí an chud is mód an martíocht déanta I Lúndan, níach a éine in AIB na cóirí foláirh an am.
Tána sé chun solas nach raibh an cóireachta áirichas a déanamh an freastal ceart ar na reserves ar chóir a bheith go. Mar sin de bhí Paul mór an sin agus 5 mór ag an bank. Séir de higimear ón monk ná gur fánar amach an córacht áireachais a ligint chun siúil. Díreach mar sin gan bachan leis se hiile.
I couldn't understand how it had happened, because what we were told was that if any subsidiary of a bank failed, that the whole bank would fail.
Ní hamháin gur fáibh an manc de bhí fáibh an choras bancéireachta agus fáibh dearnadála ag an stáitmhí sin.
How we got into that position, I don't know. How we ever allowed banks to be financed in a way that left them vulnerable in this way. The failure of some subsidiary. I don't understand that. Never discovered how that happened. And that's which left us high and dry.
In Ned and Adala, nach raibh an lucht AIB. An raibh sé diasca drob an isteachta, drob ro céireacht, mí nó gachrad thuas loite. Céir viad na daoine se agus cad go díreach a bhír bonacha.
They were very much in masters of the universe mode, so, you know, they thought they knew everything. They bested everybody to buy ICI in a hostile situation, so they were obviously quite buoyed up by that. But, you know, it turned out that they didn't really know what they were at all.
We have always made it clear that we did not know the insurance business from beginning to end. We were not managing ICI. ICI had its own separate board and management, and that was part of the arrangement at the time of the acquisition. So therefore one relies on the information provided by management and board of a company in which one has an investment.
Ba é John Gray, Spanish door na Brainse I Lúndan de chud an ICI. Thugad margaí gno brabús georhermachistach a chréidir calúntí mór a míltacha.
John Grace has refused to be interviewed on this programme. When he was running ICI's London office, he took on business that simply didn't make business sense.
Bhí Grace imel na halle.
John Grace was a kind of typical 1980s buccaneer who was put in charge of ICI in London. He was a high liver. He enjoyed the good life. He entertained clients a huge amount. And he was the guy who went down this high-risk road. You're talking about satellites, bloodstock, all these things which tend to go wrong.
Given Mr. Grace's track record, I would not be very happy about his choices. Put bluntly, he was a lousy insurance company manager.
So you see the money rolling in initially there. Of course, the payouts are very, very high indeed. And once the insurance industry took a downturn and they had claims against them, you know, the manure hit the fan.
You've refused to do an interview in relation to ICI, but I'd like to talk to you about your involvement in the collapse.
I'm not responsible.
Well, why won't you talk to people? Why have you refused to do interviews and talk about it? A lot of Irish taxpayers would like to know what happened. It's gone bust now, and under you. A lot of people say it was your unprofessionalism that did it. The way in which you did business is the problem.
That is not true.
It's one of these cases where they left somebody in charge who didn't handle it well, and they didn't keep an eye on it. And nobody was checking what he was doing. We're not good at checking up on things in this country.
Ní raibh John Gray sa córa den Picture Moore. Picture gur raibh AIB lánsáis de drama huirtó, cho fada sa bhí na pinganí agus na buin ag tachtasteach. Ach cad go tíadach a bhír siúil ag banistóirí AIB. Cén fánach raibh banistíocht ICI ag fara Grace Lúndan. Cé mar sin a bhí ag banistíú na banistóirí.
He's, to some extent, responsible. He's also a very convenient scapegoat. You know, it's always useful for the banks, and the bank with as sick a culture as AIB had, to pick a guy and say, well, he was the guy who did it. Grace is the trader who bust ICI. That's what they like to do. But why the hell weren't people on top of him?
Bharrtaigh AIB dulchaigh rialtas Jared Fitzgerald thóir tarrtháil airgid. Strátéis ordrisce a bhí bunathe imníon bhainc go gurach cailtanis an ICI iad héanas gnó. Níor chuig an strátéise a bhaim gachéine áfach.
When they realised that it was something that was out of control, they, in a most astute manner, managed to obtain the government's permission for the government to take it over. And I think the government was wrong to do that.
Nobody knew enough about the situation to be able to give us really good advice. I'm not sure it's the kind of situation where civil servants would know enough to know what's the right thing to do, so you're left a bit on your own in those circumstances.
In éimeis chóirle ón na stáit séadmhísigh céanát eile an bhéiteach an rialtas sain chóirle a lorug. Chalachadar le cóirle ó insí airgeadis na buink san áibh. Bhí ar cinenne I dhéanamh agus bhíidir fé dhéan bhrú.
These guys were coming to the government, coming to Alan Dukes and John Bruton, same names appearing again, of course, and Garrett Fitzgerald, and saying, we're going to go bust in the morning. That was the shorthand message. It wasn't the way they put it. We're going to go bust in the morning unless you bail us out.
Since last Friday week and the shock announcement of the ICI collapse, there's been increasing public concern about the whole affair. The taxpayer is to be saddled with the debts and obligations of a totally private company, at one point the jewel in the investment crown of Ireland's largest banking group, AIB.
AIB came to the government and more or less put a gun to their head and said, you know, you fix this up, take this off our hands, or else we'll liquidate.
We were told that if we didn't act immediately, the bank would collapse and other banks as well. But it was never clear how valid was that.
Beidir's nach raibh an tarna ráha ag an rialtas, ach sé dianta na fearne, ná gur chahadidir an tír isteach an Omerdain na bíocha. Omerdain a bheitach caliúntí ar luach 600 milliún ascartás. An le town agla gur héiteidir isteach, nó ar broch isteach an iad.
I think you made the right decision. Thank you.
Ní téirn go raibh scaoineamh ar an rialtas mar nuair a chuaimar chun an réiteach a chur as cóir an rialtas, bhí scéim leagtha machagainn. Scéim go raibh an banchanais an rialtas na cólachtaí áireachais agus na bancanna páirteach ann.
It was a huge problem for the government. They obviously panicked. The solution at that stage was to get the other banks to club together and to give loans to AIB, just to sort the problem out for now.
An mógad díreach mar sin a bhí a gceist leis an tarthall airgid. Well, de cheannig an rialtas ICI ar éon fúnta bháin. Agus bhí ar an rialtas 10 milliún punt a leaga ar an mórd go tuamh te tapaig. Bheadh sé fáca fé chuiream an rialtas an tála deirige íoch, tálaí go méidir nach dúchach a neire go dó.
It was a brilliant coup for AIB. It was an extraordinary successful manoeuvre.
Da mbeadh rabha eile níos simplí ann, bheadh ghlacha going leis. Ach de bheasamar gur bhfear é dhéanamh ar an gcuill ar dhéanamar é. Díreach chun muilín a chiméad agus a chothú in sa chóras bancéireachta.
Did John Bruton and Alan Dukes have any alternative to committing the taxpayer's signature to what is effectively a blank cheque? Or would the consequence of not saving AIB's skin been too awful to contemplate?
De bhí AIB chomhlárnach le cuasaí go leagan na tíre, as scuiledís le AIB dolas ganó, beidir go ganó Bank of Ireland iad, ach chuirte sinna gcuine aon omíocht leis den sa tír, so de chuirte sin costasaí íosachtaí is dói in orde.
The liquidation of a major insurance company, I'm not denying that it would be a very serious matter. I just would say that even if it happened, it wouldn't be the end of the world. We'd survive it, and it certainly would rock the institutions, but it would by no means mean that we would have to close up the shop. I think we could withstand it.
Ní ré an intin a bhí gachéine go raibh an cinenne ceart dianta ag an rialtas. Di ghéine idir cinenne conspódach. Dhéanó chachaigh agus locht an rasúire cáinnig géiread. Gníomh an rialtas go méar gánta, dhéileidir don onraváil.
They criticised us, naturally, the handling of it. What they said was that we should have insisted on getting a share in AIB in return. I mean, they may have been right, I don't know. Perhaps we could have done that. There was a reluctance to get involved in having shares in banks. But he had a point anyway. And he took the opportunity of the debate to criticise us and say we should have taken that share.
Cyn fá na bhúrmuid scarna, a bheith muidir scarna áil sa man gignam. De bheith an tír agus de bheith an beidir an cistí an stáit a bhd níos sláintúil agus muidir teachtasteach an san nóchadí agus na tús an chéad nua agus de bheith cuasí bhd níos fearr agus déadach muidir tris profit anaías a dhéanamh sin.
The logical thing to do would have been to nationalise them and say, yo, the money that we're using or lending you, we're going to use to actually take you over. And it's tough on your shareholders, but that's the way the world works, the way the market works.
Were we misled by AIB into having to act in that dramatic way? Was it really as necessary as they told us? It left me very sceptical about banks, I can tell you, after that.
Dúiltaíoch cadisteach na Camry Telefíse ag cruinniú na Núnéirí Bank ina chur na stúdathódaí idir cathú agus náire anúil faoin dro inistú in an Insurance Corporation of Ireland. Chosann sé £9 milliún ar an manc ina omláine. De hasasta cloigeann an na scar halvódaí an na scavétadís trost agus muíonn sa bhanc a chruthú a ríist. Cé a bhí chun freagracht a chhlacha as an braiseach seo.
The mood of the meeting supported the board of directors, and Chairman Niall Crowley got applause when he said he wouldn't resign. He laid the blame on accountants and other bankers for giving misleading information. In the end, shareholders voted overwhelmingly to back the board, despite all the criticism.
Well, you said that the board no longer had the moral authority to run the bank. What did you mean by that?
Well, I meant that the board had lost so much of the shareholders' money and also put the taxpayers of the country at so much risk that they lacked the moral authority to make the decisions over the next few years which will be necessary in the interest of the bank, and that a new structure on the board and new faces on the board were essential in order to restore that moral authority.
Tá sé ráite gom náró duine an ólach a chuirsaí airgeadis a hiic siad dóchan agus mar go leor gur cuma gur raibh AIB Ardhanistíocht AIB treis preiseach omlána dhéanamh dó seo gur muidne an gnáil rinne a bhí chun díal as an breiseach agus mar a hála a go dtí le déarnas in ar curú chun doris an Ardhanistíocht in AIB.
Ní a bhánar tugach bat agus bóthir de bhanistíocht AIB bhain an phríomhaimeach tairbh as an gás. Trahúil gomád cheannig sé scaranna sa bhanc an láirimis an tarthall airigid. Taobhiste de ghála dordig price na scaranna, bheith cuaig fan giad, yin Scanlon prefé das.
The chief executive of AIB, Jerry Scanlon, at the time, bought 50,000 shares in the middle of this debacle with the permission of the chairman, Niall Crowley at the time. But you have to ask the question, what in the name of God was the chief executive of the biggest bank in Ireland doing at a time of crisis, speculating in the shares of the bank? And he made a lot of money on it. So it leaves people sick in their stomach to see that the chief executive actually benefited materially at the time that this crisis was occurring, whereas the taxpayer was on the line for millions.
Cad a chasan sé seo fada rinne. Níor immer sé tanchar róganna AIB. Chuig a god scaranna I luach agus chógríidir brabús den bblion sin a bhí ábhrín beag níos lú. Tháinig AIB slán as. Níor imríocht tanchar róganna na scar halvódaí a chéad, fuidir a go dimhne mar is gnách. Má se, cé imríocht tanchar.
Is muidne an gná conna chur a bhí díal seo agus bin néidir gochtó chuige go hálaise seo agus seo áhíle sa dé agus so le stig sin fithe chuig blianacha tá muid fósa díala so dómh siúd tá smíine bhar Anglo-Irish Bank agus ar AIB agus tá dtíine rá gur bíon na glúine tá machhain a bheits a díalas tá an ráglúine stoi tréis fósa díal as ICI, so cínta dearnamh be ráglún eile a díal as Anglo-Irish agus as AIB an tarnú úr.
Ach ar has éine an óda gine AIB, in néchadó is ála gur dhéon $80 a bháin, dírecha le héad, Des O'Malley. Dúilteach sé cadú na sáracha sé thuirta AIB go dtí go níaladís cid sa 60 milliún breise.
It seemed to me to be very wrong that the taxpayer should stump up on the second occasion.
AIB didn't seem to agree though.
No, they didn't. They felt it wasn't their liability.
And how were they pressurised into doing it? Was it a very difficult job?
It wasn't easy. I won't go into the details of how it came about, but there was an arrangement come to finally.
There was an intervention, and a very honourable intervention, by Des O'Malley when he was Minister for Industry and Commerce in about 1992. When he came in and he said, hey, the taxpayer got a really bad deal here, and it was a reflection of what he thought of his predecessors and what the deal they got. He said, AIB, I've got away with murder, and I'm not going to allow it anymore. I'm not going to give you a license. And it was courageous, and it was tremendous, and it was refreshing. And I wish there were more people like Des O'Malley now who would stand up to the banks. He said, I'm not going to give you a license in insurance unless you pay more money to the taxpayer. And these guys, the banks who have been bullies all along, and have bullied the governments all along, I think were shattered by this, but they paid up. He made them pay up. So at the end of the day, I don't think it cost the taxpayer very much money. But that was luck more than anything else. And it was due to Des O'Malley as well.
It didn't cost the taxpayer. I mean, at the time, the central bank, some of the profits that might have come to us in alleviation of tax had to be applied to this for a period. The money was repaid and back into the exchequer again. Up into the central bank and through the central bank to the exchequer. So there's no net cost to the taxpayer.
Ach, dinter navheim den baul moor dove tlitanis. Atá fós sound, fós dove, fós dain.
Ní félim figure a chur ar ilm an cúisina an phríomhcheann ná go bhfuil achtraí ar siúl a gcónaí. Tá éileh á dhéanamh a hagan as na polisa áirithis a scríoch ag an am go fóilín. Mar go minic a gúrsaí áirichis tógann sé raid bliantas ar a dagan éileh isteach a gcuine áirichis a scrítar im líon áirithe.
De réid an chud is mód in na meastachán níor chosnig tarthal airigid 9.85 ach an ús a bhí fáca I leataíh ar ísacht 10 milliún a thug an rialtas de AIB. Is ann go fóld an umar dain áfach. Maidir leis na héile bhárachas, ní bheith dead lotha go dtí an bbliain fethe a chuige. Bhfuil éonrad fála methe.
After ICI, there was no signs that things really tightened up in terms of looking after the banks. If anything, they got looser. We haven't any culture of prosecuting white-collar crime. We just don't do it. We've never done it, and there doesn't seem to be any great appetite for doing it now. Are the bankers too clever? Perhaps. You know, the regulator certainly wasn't strict enough with them, and the laws have let them away with whatever has been done. So you could say nothing has really changed.
They have never learned. There was just a lack of vigilance, corporate governance, regulation. You have to ask, where were the auditors? Where were the regulators? Where were the people who were normally meant to be there to warn them and to warn the banks of what was going on?
Ní leor rialacha a bheith agat ach iad a chur a bhaim, agus iad a chur a bhaim go doch dain. Tásúla gom nach dardóch a le héid sin dachtra in éon bhanc sa lá tá nuan ar nó tá chun a ráilm gohfuil achtraí eile nach iad tartha a mancana agus a sfíorgat. Ach tásúla gom nach ligthach banc dá le héid thardú ríist.
Or bhfuil mór an fómíagan ní dóna mé, agus an dorló sé ríis tarlói sin stói an nádúir daana agus smailinn mar dermé gomach an marga mór miltain a chagan ach má icin tún chiad marga mór eile just branní ar go cuaramach.
The lesson to the government and to the banks here was that if any bank in Ireland, any major bank in Ireland, gets into trouble, the government will come to the rescue. I think that's what too big to fail. And that was 25, 26 years ago. We learnt that, and that lesson is there today. And we got it. We got the same message a couple of years ago when the same bank went to the same people, or to the same offices, went back to the Taoiseach and said, "Look, rescue us."
We obviously didn't learn much in terms of supervising the banks. Clearly, whatever lesson should have been learned did not pass on. But then I don't think we're great institutional memory in this country. I doubt very much if another group of politicians 25 years later would be thinking back and remembering what happened then and taking that into account. We certainly did not learn to keep an eye on the banks, which is probably the lesson we should have learned from that.